I don't know if people can see that there.
Yeah.
But I suppose what I just wanted to do in the 2 minutes that we'd got left to conclude was to revisit both this definition that Vesna shared with us at the beginning and also some of the values that we've been commenting on throughout the slides. Our interest really came from the Settle MSOR conference and a subsequent paper where we couldn't find much that was, as the Rebel Book Club, we couldn't find much that had been written explicitly about student-staff partnerships in mathematics, but we were finding things that had elements or hallmarks of partnership. And so what I thought would be helpful is if I just shared and again put these values up here, is for those folks who are still on the call and are still with us, for a moment of time, just to take stock. We have had 3 hours of such variety, and maybe to take stock and think about, where do you see these values at play in your own learning and teaching practices? And maybe what would be a step that you want to take that would be one more step to take to bring another one of these values into greater focus into your own learning and teaching practice? Because we could talk about Carol, where she was bringing this idea of harmonizing of ourselves, bringing who we are as humans, a humanizing piece. We're bringing our experiences, not necessarily as in terms of equal experiences, but also the idea she mentioned, there was one word that crossed across both, the confidence of educators and of learners to step forward into this student-staff partnership experiences. She talked about a word, she used a word, grey spaces, which is a word that Vesna and Deirdre and Anne, who are on the call, will know from the reading that we've done in The Power of Partnership, the book, The Power of Partnership, through Elon University. And I could go on with Kevin talking about the addiction, the club, the games that were happening, which to me was drawing that sense of empowerment of being part of the community. And Roz, you were telling us and explaining to us about that trust and challenge that was coming through the students becoming partners with each other in feeding back and sharing about their lesson experiences. Barry, you reminded us that education, that engagement and partnership are closely linked. There's a quote from the National Union of Students publication on the manifesto for partnership that said, all partnership is engagement, but not all engagement is partnership. And there's maybe a little bit of set theory knocking around in there, but in some way. But thinking about how the language and the area of work here is quite varied, but we are probably doing these things in our own settings without really realizing it. Ria, thank you that you gave us the confidence, tell us about your confidence to challenge different perceptions of hierarchy in your partnerships. That was super. I really enjoyed that. But also that your partnership gave you a chance to build an appreciation of your own talent as well as the talent of others, and that idea of reciprocity that comes through. I've only got 3 more people to say, and so I'm going to be taking liberty with about 30 more seconds, if that's all right. Gihan, you introduced us to the idea of detectives and what's the motive behind our student-staff partnerships, and reminded us that the hallmarks spread into many different areas of our practice. I love the notion of community that was coming from the Discord group that you ran there, and there was almost a levelling out and equalising of the hierarchy in some ways. Michael, you brought home into real focus for us the equity issues that are often around in partnership, not necessarily in power, but just in resources and payment. But I love the notion of challenge there. Feel free to question or correct the teacher or the educator. It's inviting people to engage. And Francis, thank you for sharing a multinational experience there. But even at the beginning, you were introducing us to the notion that a common language in partnership is important. You reminded us that we might be in the UK, in America, in Canada, in Africa, and so we might call it staff-student partnerships, we might call it faculty-student partnerships. But if we're stepping into this partnership space, making sure that we are equipping all of the people in the partnership space to feel confident in the language that's being used, and challenge us to see partnership beyond pedagogic practices. I've certainly got a lot to go away and look at and maybe rewrite some of our thinking, Vesna, Deirdre and Anne, in terms of where we see student-staff partnership practices in mathematics. And just well done on being able to bring together such a group of diverse but related speakers that are all picking up on elements of the values underpinning student-staff partnership. Thank you, folks. Thank you ever so much for your time today. It really has been enlightening. I'm delighted to have been able to take the time to listen to you. So thank you ever so much.